everyone, you are welcome to my new YouTube channel. This channel we are going to be teaching math and engineering science or physics that has to do with engineering. So now when you start doing engineering, you come across many problems and even some math problems that are not associated with engineering courses. The first problem you ever come across that is you find it a little bit difficult in your life, it's such problems as this: x plus 1 is equals to 0. You know, you were doing back then, you were doing 1 plus 1 is equals to 2 and 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. Here you are going to be doing something different. Now x in this case is called the unknown. It's a value that we do not know. It's that value which we have been asked to reproduce. We have been given a certain equation to reproduce. Hello everyone, you are welcome to my new YouTube channel. This channel we are going to be teaching math and engineering science or physics that has to do with engineering. So now when you start doing engineering, you come across many problems and even some math problems that are not associated with engineering courses. The first problem you ever come across that is you find it a little bit difficult in your life, it's such problems as this: x plus 1 is equals to 0. You know, you were doing back then, you were doing 1 plus 1 is equals to 2 and 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. Here you are going to be doing something different. Now x in this case is called the unknown. It's a value that we do not know. It's that value which we have been asked to reproduce. We have been given a certain equation to reproduce a certain value of a certain unknown. Now in this case, what you are actually supposed to do when you encounter something like this, simply you are just going to apply some basic rules, because I know most of you have come across this and you know it's simple but promising. Some of you are going to face difficulties when we enter the deeper side, especially when we get to calculus. So let's start where the problem begins of looking for a certain value which is unknown. So let's take, for example, x plus 1. Now if you are asked to find the value of x, you have equation x plus 1. What are you going to do in this case? The first thing you have to know is for you to get x here in this equation, you have to make x alone on its side. So the only way for you to make x is to either send this one to this area, but what you are actually going to do is you are going to minus 1. Since this is plus, for you to get 0 so that you get just x that you'll be left with, you have to minus 1. So in this case, if it was minus, you are going to plus 1 so that it has to be 0. So let's move forward and let's go. So what you also have to do is, what you do in the left, you also do it in the right. So let's minus 1. We minus x plus 1 minus 1 is equals to 0 minus 1. If you go to your calculator, you punch quickly, this is going to be 0 and this is going to be minus 1. So there you have x is equals to minus 1. So that is your value of x. You can now go on and say the value of x is minus 1. Now, how can you prove that the value of x is minus 1? You simply have to substitute it back inside your equation. So let's quickly go back and substitute inside your equation. So notice that this equation is telling you that whatever unknown value we have here plus 1 must give us 0. So what is our value of x? Our value of x is negative 1. Now plus 1. Let's keep this in bracket to show that we've substituted all this. So if you go to your calculator, you punch negative 1 plus 1, it's actually going to give you 0. So that verifies our answer is equals to 0, and that verifies that the equation the x value which we have, it's correct. Now, let's quickly look at another equation that is a little bit complicated for those who do not know how to work with x squared. So in this case, we are being given to look for the value of x. Now, x squared minus 4. So what are we going to do in this case to what? To remove out what? The x in this case. So what we do is we just move forward. We say x squared minus 4. Now, notice that this is minus 4. So if you want to make this minus 4 to be out of this region so that we have x component on its own side, we are going to add 4. This is equals to, so since we've added 4 in the left hand side, we are going to add 4 in the right hand side. So it's going to be 0 plus 4. If you go quickly and you punch that in your calculator, this will go to 0 and this will go to 4. So you are left with what? X squared, because x squared minus 0 is also x squared. It's equals to 0 plus 4 is 4. And I have 4. Now, for you to eliminate what? This x squared, you have to square root both sides. Remember, you have to square root both sides. This is our sign of a square root. That is the sign of a square root. So you simply square root both sides. So what happens? This square root will obviously cancel this out. Now you are left with x. So this will be x is equals to, now go to your calculator, tap the square root of 4. It gives us 2. So the value of x is 2. Now for us to prove that our equation and our unknown is right, we have to substitute it back into the equation and let it satisfy the statement. So we are simply going to cancel this out. Now, it says x squared or minus 4 is equals to 0. So since we already have x, we know that x is 2, we square this, minus 4. Must be equals to 0. It must be equals to 0. It must be. If it says equals to 1, that means all of this equation must be equals to 1. Okay, let's take for example. So this, the square root of 2 is, the square of 2 is 4. Minus 4 is equals to 0. Go that and push the calculator, you see it's right. Now, let's go to the third example. Let's go to the third example. It shows that this one is actually correct. It's approved. Now, let's go to the third example. Now, in this case, you are asked to look for x, the value of x, but you have x cubed. How can we solve this equation? How can we solve this equation? So simply, we are simply going to look for the value of x by what? By removing this person outside and leave what? Only the value, only the x component at their own area. So let's just move forward and do that. X cubed minus 27. So go ahead and think. If this is 27, how can we eliminate 27? Simply, we are going to add 27, negative 27. To eliminate it, we go to add 27. So once we do it in the left hand side, we also have to do it in the right hand side. So we add 27 here. So this goes to 0 and this goes to 27. So we are left with x cubed is equals to 27. Now, we have not looked for the value of x. We have the value of x cubed. So what are we going to do in this? So we simply apply our x. This, apply this. So this is simply going to cancel this out. So what is the cube root? We simply apply the cube root. What is the cube root of 27? It gives you x is equals to 3. Sorry. X is equals to 3. So that is actually how you can look for x in any of this equation. Now let's prove that this must be equals to 0. So let's cancel this out. And let's take the 3 which we have gotten. This is 3 cubed minus 27 must be equals to 0. So how can we maneuver this? So we simply take the 3 cubed, which is 27, minus 27 is equals to 0. That satisfies our equation. Thank you. Now let's take for example that this is not equals to 0, it's equals to 1. So what are you going to do in this case? You simply go ahead and you say x plus 1 minus 1 is equals to 1. Then this minus 1 you've applied here, also applied here, minus 1. Another way you can do this is by what? Is by, you see, x. Now remember, let's take for example now this will cross and go here. So once it carries this sign, once this cross and comes here, it becomes 1. Then this is 1. Now once this sign crosses this, whatever the sign is, it crosses this, it becomes the opposite, which is minus. You get the point? Now x is equals to what? 1 minus 1 is 0. Now let's go back to our equation and substitute that. So this is 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. Because 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. That satisfies our equation. For everything, you can do it the same and it's going to give you. Even if it's equals to 1000, you are going to calculate it out, it's going to give you. Thank you very much. You are welcome to my new channel. I'll be pleased to have you in the next upload video where I'll be taking some challenges, some questions that are really challenging to students, especially grade 12, especially year 1 and also the N courses, N4 and N5. I'll be glad to show you the basic tricks that you can use so that you get ahead more faster with your studies. Thank you. See you on the next video.